up, the annual TIMA Convention kicks off in Hualien County, Taiwan. We learn more about the 15th solar term Bailu, which indicates the beginning of cool autumn. Welcome to DaAi Headlines. I'm Helen Liao. Thank you for joining us. The annual TIMA Convention officially kicked off on September 7th in Hualien, Taiwan. TIMA members from Taiwan and abroad gather at the local Jingsi Hall to share knowledge, exchange ideas, and learn from one another.
The 2014 TIMA Convention kicks off in Hualien, Taiwan, with 500 participants from 19 countries worldwide gathered at the Hualien Jingsi Hall.
I hope you come with your warm hearts, but go back with your heart, full of love and happiness. Continue support TIMA for years to come.
Witnessing the impermanence of life, Tzu Chi volunteers and TIMA members in Taiwan extended their care and support to the victims of the recent Kaohsiung gas blasts. Embodying the spirit of a true bodhisattva, they brought solace and peace to rattled hearts.
By joining hands and pulling together with hearts united, together we can do more for those who are suffering in the world.
One of the deadliest disasters of the century brought together people from all across the world. When Typhoon Haiyan struck the Philippines in 2013, Tzu Chi volunteers initiated a Cash for Work program, while TIMA provided free medical services to local residents. The combined efforts of volunteers from 13 countries gave local residents the strength to rise up from the ruins.
The benefactors gave with so much respect, while those who were on the receiving end showed so much gratitude and accepted the assistance with such joy and happiness.
At a time when natural and man-made disasters are more frequent than ever, with a heart of gratitude and respect, TIMA members will continue to safeguard the cornerstone of love, as well as the lives of those suffering in the world.
For the Chinese, Mid-Autumn Festival is a time for family reunions. However, there are still many, such as police officers, that have to stay on duty to look after the safety of citizens. To show their love and care for the officers, Zhongshan District Tzu Chi volunteers of Taipei visited their nearby police station and fire brigade with homemade mooncakes. Meanwhile, Yonghe District Tzu Chi volunteers of New Taipei City visited care recipients with mooncakes made by the disabled. Delivering boxes of mooncakes to the homes of care recipients is something Tzu Chi volunteers have been doing for many years prior to the Mid-Autumn Festival.
This year, I received mooncakes from the Tzu Chi volunteers. I'm extremely moved.
However, this year's mooncakes are much more meaningful compared to previous years. This year, Tzu Chi volunteers decided to purchase mooncakes made by those from the Bear House, an organization that provides the mentally disabled with chance to work.
Many of them don't have a place to go to after they graduate from high school, so we established the Bear House. This place gives them the opportunity to obtain a lifelong skill and helps them find their goals and meaning of life.
When I visited the care recipients, I made sure to tell them the story behind the mooncakes. I also told them that this year's mooncakes are especially embedded with love.
Meanwhile, in Taipei's Zhongshan District, after 3 days of baking, Tzu Chi volunteers are ready to deliver their homemade mooncakes to a nearby police station and fire brigade.
Zhongshan District Tzu Chi Policemen Association is here with our blessings and gratitude on behalf of Master Zheng Yan and Tzu Chi volunteers across the globe.
As many officers have to work during Mid-Autumn Festival, the volunteers' words of care and encouragement are a soothing balm.
Thank you, Tzu Chi volunteers, for always providing us with so much love during the holidays.
Thanks to a volunteers' visit, although not being able to spend the holiday with their loved ones, police officers still find themselves filled with family-like love. Tzu Chi volunteers in Batam, Indonesia wanted to add more meaning to the Mid-Autumn Festival. Thus, prior to the holiday, volunteers held a mooncake charity sale at the local shopping center, hoping to inspire compassion in the hearts of local residents. Here's more.
Watching volunteers perform a sign language song, Tzu Chi Care recipient Sumihar Haryanja is moved beyond words.
Saya terharu.
I'm very emotional inside, and tears fell earlier because I have also received Tzu Chi's help. The volunteers are full of passion and spirit to help the poor like me. Every year, Batam Tzu Chi volunteers will sell mooncakes to raise funds for the needy. This year, the Indonesian Chinese Social Association president stopped by to show his support.
Positive. This event is very positive because it helps to promote the Chinese culture and where mooncakes comes from. Tzu Chi is also very active in holding events to raise funds to help the less fortunate.
Tzu Chi's events are wonderful. I see Tzu Chi volunteers helping the poor, and they also provide medical assistance to the impoverished. I'm very supportive of Tzu Chi.
We hold an annual event to sell mooncakes. These mooncakes are homemade. We're also selling bookmarks and Tzu Chi's instant rice. This way, more people can see what a good product the instant rice is.
Giving this Mid-Autumn Festival a bit more meaning, volunteers not only ask residents to donate to a good cause, but also promoted environmental conservation.
Starting at the end of 2013, Hualien Tzu Chi volunteers have been watching Master Zheng Yan's Wisdom at Dawn broadcast every morning. As a result, the Jingsi Hole and recycling stations in Hualien have been turned into gathering points for spiritual practitioners, many of whom have demonstrated much perseverance in their attendance.
4 o'clock in the morning, when all is still and quiet, a couple walks to a recycling station to watch Master Zheng Yan's Wisdom at Dawn broadcast. They have been doing this since the start of this year.
I used to meditate and seek good health, but I now have a different mindset. I come to watch Wisdom at Dawn to learn the Dharma, something which gives me much peace in mind.
By studying the Dharma, Xie Qiuqu obtained peace of mind, while her husband Huang Yingtang obtained new insight, which he then shared with others at work.
I share my insights with my customers if they are willing to listen. I tell them not to be greedy and to do good deeds. I tell them that all our actions should originate from a generous heart. This will reduce suffering and make life easier.
In Daxi, Tzu Chi volunteers Li Yue drives others to a recycling station to study the Dharma every day. She joked that her vehicle is reserved for bodhisattvas.
The master gives Dharma lectures every day early in the morning. She has been doing so 365 days a year for more than 40 years now. Since we only began watching the program in January, I feel a bit ashamed and want to invite more people to join me.
She picks me up for Wisdom at Dawn every day. With this bodhisattva behind me, I cannot afford to slack off.
Compared with other recycling stations in Taoyuan, the one in Yuanshuli is smaller in scale. Nevertheless, more than 10 people show up here every morning for the past 8 months.
I can't say I've learned a lot by watching Wisdom at Dawn. However, I can feel that it clears my mind.
In this recycling station in Bada City, volunteers also come to listen to the Dharma on a regular basis. One of them is Chen Xiulan, who brings along homemade breakfast to share.
When watching the Wisdom at Dawn broadcast, we are reminded by the Master of where we have gone wrong. This is why I like coming here.
The recycling station in Taoyuan are not only for environmental protection, but have now become a gathering place for spiritual practitioners.
As Taiwan continues to struggle with a poor economy. People who have talents and skills have moved on to other countries where there are better opportunities and wages. Realizing that Taiwan is running out of talent, 35-year-old Zhuang Zhichao, who was a researcher at the esteemed Massachusetts Institute of Technology, decided to quit his high-paying job and return to Taiwan to start Innovation Open House 2 years ago. Here's how Zhuang is training talent in Taiwan.
Can a person alone help the world notice Taiwan? Zhuang Zhichao of IOH can.
IOH Innovation Open House 个人经验的线上图书馆。
I wanted to create a platform where people can share their experience and insights online with everyone.
Zhuang is taking a big hit on his personal finance by starting IOH. It started 2 years ago when he was working as a researcher at the esteemed Massachusetts Institute of Technology when he noticed a sharp decline in students from Taiwan.
In 1 year, there were 17 fewer students from Taiwan. So for those following afterwards who wanted to ask questions, they had nobody to turn to.
Afraid that the country is not cultivating enough properly trained talent, Zhuang decided to leave his high-paying job and return to Taiwan to start IOH, so people may exchange insights online. Zhuang is afraid that if he doesn't help broaden Taiwan students' horizons now, it will be too late. A study shows that by the year 2021, among the world's nations, Taiwan will face the worst talent shortage, worse than Japan's aging population.
In the future, most companies will globalize and operate transnationally. So if we don't have people who have a proper global view or language talents, when we have to take on transnational business, we will have a problem.
In recent years, Taiwan has been losing its competitiveness globally. In 2007, there were 29,000 students from Taiwan studying in the U.S. By 2012, the number has reduced by 24%. Whereas in China, South Korea, and India, the number of students studying abroad has been climbing steadily. Zhuang says he is very worried about this situation. And his solution is to connect youth from Taiwan studying or working in all corners of the world together via the online platform he created.
手上讲者的进度怎么样？
在活动的顺序上比较流畅。
不管是国际观。
Whether it is to broaden your international outlook or diversify your learning experience, this will greatly help you, such as when planning a career or looking for a job.
Sharing Zhuang's view on the future, many students in Taiwan have decided to volunteer at IOH.
Young people should set their eyes on the world instead of just focusing on Taiwan.
To help Taiwan's youth, Zhuang sleeps only 5 hours a day and devotes the rest of his time to producing programs for IOH.
Though it was freezing as we were filming, our hearts were warm. All the sacrifices that we are making now will be the stepping stone for future generations.
For future generations and the future of Taiwan, Zhuang has started a fire to illuminate the way. Thanks to IOH, now Taiwan's youth don't necessarily have to go abroad to work or learn to broaden their horizons. However, the government and corporations need to get involved as well, so future generations can secure their spot on the international stage.
Bailu, a white dew, is the 15th of the 24 solar terms of the Chinese calendar and falls on September 8th. Bailu indicates the real beginning of cool autumn, where the temperature declines gradually and the vapors in the air often condense into white dew on the grass and trees at night. As Mid-Autumn Festival happened to coincide with Bailu this year, pomelo farmers have been hard at work to ready their harvest in time for the festival. Meanwhile, rice farmers have to carefully observe weather changes during this period, as the weather can significantly affect their harvest.
Early morning, farmers are already hard at work picking their crops. Sparkling in sunlight, the lilies are still covered in morning dew. According to the ancient Chinese, as autumn is associated with the element of metal and is represented by the color white, the 15th solar term was thus named Bailu, literally translated as white dew. An ancient Chinese proverb also suggests that one should not expose their skin as it is cool in the morning and at night during Bailu.
We will experience wide fluctuations in temperature between day and night. Sometimes the variation is 7 to 8 degrees Celsius, so we have to be extra cautious since these temperature fluctuations will affect our crops.
The rice transplanter goes back and forth to transplant the seedlings onto paddy fields as farmers rush to finish the transplant before Li Chou. As rice enters the reproductive stage during Bailu, farmers need to carefully observe weather changes during this period.
Residents in central, northern, and southeast regions should heighten their vigilance as a typhoon may bring strong winds and heavy rains. If a typhoon does not make landfall, residents living in southern Taiwan may not have enough water for their crops.
Farmers believe if there is sufficient dew before and after Bailu, their crops will see a good harvest. However, with northeast monsoons getting stronger, farmers should also be prepared for bad weather.
Low temperatures during panicle development in rice cause spikeless sterility, as there is a substantial growth of the leaf surface during the rice reproductive phase. If a northeast monsoon is too strong or if there is a typhoon, it will damage the leaves and cause bacterial blight.
A truck full of plump pomelos is synonymous with the word blessing. Farmers work quickly but meticulously as they harvest their pomelos in time for the Mid-Autumn Festival, which came earlier this year and coincided with Bailu.
Previously, we would harvest pomelos 10 days before Bailu, since Mid-Autumn Festival only came afterwards. But since they both fall on the same day this year, we have to harvest them faster.
After a thorough scrub, these pomelos are weighed and packed into boxes. Although the disruption brought by Typhoon Matmo in July caused fruit production to drop 30 to 40% in Hualien's Shui, the quality of these pomelos, however, were unaffected.
We had sufficient spring rain and 2 days of rain during the typhoon. After that, there wasn't much rain. So this year, our pomelos are really sweet. I've had many farmers tell me how sweet their pomelos are.
Pomelos are rich in mineral nutrients, vitamin C, protein, and high fiber. However, dietitians caution that excessive intake can cause the body more harm than good.
We recommend patients with diabetes or kidney disease shouldn't eat more than half a pomelo a day. As fruits are relatively high in sugar, it may have an effect on the patient's blood sugar levels.
Bailu is also a good time for adolescent children to try bone adjustment. However, TCM doctors say bone setting treatments vary from person to person and recommend members of the public to rather try 四神 soup, a 4-herb tonic soup to nourish and enhance the spleen.
四神 soup can help enhance spleen function. These are commonly used medicinal herbs which are easily absorbed by the spleen. It will help the development of young children.
A cup of Adenophora stricta and Lily's tea can help combat dryness in the lungs. A healthy diet and regular exercise can also help us stay healthy during the season.
In the aftermath of the Kaohsiung gas blast, Tzu Chi volunteers quickly mobilized to conduct home visitations to better understand the needs of blast survivors. However, as the explosions covered a large area, it was extremely difficult for the volunteers to find all the blast victims. Next, let's find out how the volunteers overcome all obstacles to tend to those affected by the tragedy. The powerful gas explosions in Kaohsiung not only devastated Lingya and Qianzhen districts, but also ripped open paved roads on Kaishan Road. The disaster forced many stores to temporarily close their businesses. In Lingya district, 6 boroughs were severely affected, especially Fuhai and Fulong boroughs. From Yixing Road, Kaishan Road to Sanduo Road, about 6 kilometers of roads was damaged. Soon after the disaster, Tzu Chi volunteers quickly mobilized to help.
In the immediate aftermath of the gas blasts, Master Zeng Yin encouraged all her disciples to walk into the disaster area to tend to those affected by the tragedy. The Master hopes we can deliver our support and love to all disaster survivors door to door.
In order to visit blast survivors door to door, the first thing volunteers had to do was to find out the number of households in each area. After several disaster assessments, information was sent to Tzuji's headquarters in Hualien County for re-evaluation. Next, consolation cash along with assessments for scholarship aid and home repairs were carried out. However, as the disaster site covered a large area and without access to the exact number of households, it was extremely difficult for the volunteers to find all those affected.
First, we checked the webpage of the local household registration office and counted the number of buildings in each area. Next, we wrote all the information down and then estimated the number of households.
Google Map doesn't tell us the amount of buildings and households, so we had to visit each area before conducting home visitations. It was very difficult for the volunteers to look at the map given by the government because it was so small, so we decided to draw our own map.
Besides drawing an enlarged version of the map, Tzu also visited the blast site to fill in landmarks and the number of households.
When we visited the blast site with our hand-drawn map, we made sure all the missing alleys were filled in.
Meanwhile, Tzu volunteers from across the country also traveled to the disaster area in Kaohsiung to lend a helping hand.
We will receive a call every morning telling us the amount of volunteers that are coming and the areas that we need to visit. I told them not to worry. Local volunteers will take care of everything.
To safeguard the safety of the volunteers while giving the government officials time to investigate the blast site, Master Zhen Yan came up with a plan. Instead of conducting home visitation for the hardest hit roads first, Tzu volunteers began from other less affected areas. In just 8 days, Tzu volunteers visited all blast survivors in Qianzhen district. Next, the volunteers extended their love and care to those living in Lingya district. On August 14th, the volunteers began conducting home visitations on the hardest hit roads.
We have visited the blast site more than 10 times. The purpose of our visit was to find all the blast survivors and to better understand their needs.
We have been providing hot meals to blast survivors since August 1st. At first, local residents were cold and distant, but after days of interaction, they became very happy to see us.
The volunteers' gestures not only touched the hearts of disaster survivors, but also taught them a valuable lesson.
Master Zhen Yan's purpose of mobilizing all Tzu volunteers from across the country to the blast site is to remind us that we need to be prudent and pious. After joining the disaster relief mission in Kaohsiung, many volunteers have learned how to better carry out home visitations in their communities.
Despite the devastation caused by the accidents, with collected effort and love from across the country, the blast site in Kaohsiung will surely return to its former glory in no time.
We go to Malaysia's Malacca at the end of the show to help those in greater need. 75-year-old recycling volunteer Zhu Yalan has been donating recycled PET bottles to the Buddhist NGO on a monthly basis. Touched by the senior's gesture, her neighbors happily joined her ranks. We'll leave you with these images. Thank you for watching DaAi Headlines. Goodbye.